The Vorkesh were the galaxy's legendary warriors. Born without the neurological capacity for fear, they had dominated every conflict for 12,000 years. Their soldiers marched into battle with absolute confidence, feeling no dread, no hesitation, no self-doubt. Fear, they believed, was a weakness of lesser species, a biological defect that made other civilizations inferior. General Kralmoth stood on the observation deck of his command vessel, watching a human research station below, a small outpost on the desert moon of Kartol. The humans had recently established it despite warnings that a devastating meteor storm would strike within hours. Kralmoth had ordered the station evacuated. Instead, the humans had refused to leave. "Sir," his tactical officer reported, "the humans are still activating ground-based defense systems. They're attempting to remain on the surface during the storm." Kralmoth's enhanced senses detected the approaching meteor swarm, thousands of massive rocks hurtling through space at catastrophic velocities. His biological sensors showed no emotional response to the danger. He simply observed and calculated. A communication channel opened. Dr. Sarah Chen, the station commander, appeared on the view screen. Her face was pale, her breathing elevated, her movements jerky and uncertain. Every biological marker indicated acute stress. "General," she said, her voice trembling, "we're staying. Our research equipment has detected something in this meteor storm, a phenomenon that could save millions of lives across the galaxy. We're not leaving until we gather the data." Kralmoth studied her with detached curiosity. "You are experiencing fear. Your biological markers indicate elevated cortisol, accelerated heart rate, diminished rational capacity. You are compromised." "Yes," Sarah acknowledged. "I'm terrified. But that doesn't mean I'm leaving." This was incomprehensible to Kralmoth. Why would a being experiencing fear voluntarily remain in danger? As the meteor storm approached, the Vorkesh general observed something he had never witnessed before. Sarah's hands shook as she worked the instruments, but she continued. Her voice wavered as she communicated with her team, but she gave clear orders. Her fear was obvious, undeniable, yet she functioned despite it, not because of fearlessness, but because of something else. The station shook as the first impact struck. Alarms wailed. Sarah moved through the chaos with methodical purpose, collecting data, protecting her team, refusing to abandon her mission. She was crying, actual tears streaming down her face, and yet she advanced into the danger rather than retreating from it. When the storm finally passed, the station remained intact, and the data had been collected. Sarah collapsed in her chair, exhausted and visibly shaken. Kralmoth requested a meeting. When they stood face to face, the Vorkesh general was silent for an unusually long time. "Explain," he finally commanded. "How did you function while experiencing fear?" Sarah looked at the towering alien commander. "Fear isn't a weakness, General. Fear is information. It tells you something matters. It tells you what you're willing to sacrifice for." "This is illogical," Kralmoth responded. "Fear diminishes performance." "No," Sarah said, her exhaustion lending her words unexpected authority. "Fear that paralyzes you diminishes performance. But fear that clarifies your purpose? That transforms your priorities? That makes you willing to face something terrible for something greater? That's not a weakness. That's the foundation of true courage." She gestured around the damaged station. "You've never experienced fear, so you've never experienced real bravery. Your soldiers advance without hesitation because they feel no hesitation. That's not courage, that's just absence of fear. But my people? We face things that terrify us. We do them anyway. That's bravery." Kralmoth processed this information through his logical frameworks, trying to understand a concept that had no place in Vorkesh physiology. Yet something in Sarah's words resonated with a pattern he was beginning to recognize. His people had been undefeated in every battle, but they had never accomplished anything truly significant. They conquered, they dominated, but they never sacrificed. They never risked anything that mattered because they felt nothing mattered enough to fear losing it. Humans, by contrast, had accomplished extraordinary things despite their fears. They had explored hostile worlds while terrified. They had created art while doubting themselves. They had loved while afraid of loss. They had persisted through adversity that would have broken species without emotional complexity. "I believe," Kralmoth said slowly, "that my species has misunderstood the nature of strength." Sarah nodded. Strength isn't the absence of fear. It's the choice to act despite it. Fear means you're risking something you value. That's what makes the risk meaningful. Over the following months, the Vorkesh military began a fundamental re-evaluation of their doctrine. They began studying human history, not as an inferior species to be conquered, but as a species that had discovered something the fearless had missed, that true courage requires fear. When General Kralmoth stood before the Vorkesh Council to present his findings, his voice carried something unprecedented for his kind: uncertainty. Yet he continued speaking, expressing his revised understanding, risking the judgment of his peers. For the first time in 12,000 years, a Vorkesh leader experienced something that resembled fear. And in that moment, he experienced something else entirely: the profound strength of facing the unknown anyway. The galaxy would never be the same. The fearless had finally learned what the afraid had always known, that bravery is not the absence of fear, it is the choice to matter despite it.